I am. I am back. A little bit of a new look, a little bit of a new feel. And I am so pleased as plum to have you here in this beautiful day. It's November 1st, and we're just hitting fall in Toronto. And whether you're live and on the replay, let me know what you are, where you are. Are you team live? Are you on the replay? I'd love to know where you are chiming in from. Uh, because it's always great to say hi to you wherever you're chiming in from. Hi, Grace. Great to see you. And, to all the fans out there, I know it's been a while and I've missed you all. And it's welcome to the Victory Speaks Inspired Conversations. And tonight, it's all about trailblazers in time. And this series is where I seek to honor the icons in our community who are here with us now. There's so many times we like to acknowledge people when they're gone, but tonight it's a little different. So for those of you who don't know me, I am your host, Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission to inspire you like I'm going to be inspired to live a life of victory, a victorious lifestyle. You see, we all need to cultivate that victory mindset as we need to mind our minds in this journey. I've had many countless conversations all the time, good, bad, funny, you name it. And I know you have had with various peoples all around the world doing amazing things. And I want to share them with you. I believe we all have a story to tell, and there's always someone that can glean from your story. Tonight's episode, I want to share with you a pillar in my life, a pillar in the community. She is, if you know me, I'm going to say it. She is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. She is known as Lady Dotty, Pastor Dotty, Reverend Dotty, Mommy Dotty, Mrs. Nicholas, Miss Nicholas. She just has so many beautiful names that she is called by in this community. And I hope you will join me in celebrating her. But I'm just going to give you a little glimpse of who she is tonight. And I'm not going to give you her full bio because you're going to learn about her as we speak. She's celebrating 50-year lifespan in nursing with a specialty in sickle cell. And she has won various awards. Like she's won the Humanitarian Award of Excellence for the Seed of Life Philanthropic Organization. She has won the Leadership Award from the Sickle Cell Miracle Network. And, Lady Dotty has a scholarship and she's retired. But for some reason, she still loves taking care of people, even in this pandemic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can't even wait because this interview has been one in the making for a hot minute. I love to say a hot minute. And I hope you enjoy her just as much as we do in my world. So without further ado, people, welcome to the Victory Speak stage, Lady Pastor Dotty Nicholas. Woo! I know everybody would be clapping for you if they were here. They were here. But I know they're here in virtual land, and so hopefully I'm making some of the applause there for you. I would bring in a band for you if I could. How are you, Lady Dotty?
I am doing just great and happy to know that 1971, this very first day of November, I went into my uniform with my white cap on my head and entered the nursing profession. And I never looked back.
Listen, I am so honored that you allowed me the honor and the privilege to speak to you 50 years to the day. It's a year of jubilee. That's half a century. Oh my God. And I feel so honored and so blessed. And I think anybody on the line here would be feeling blessed and honored. So whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, drop your comments on the chat, drop your well wishes on the chat so I can read it to our wonderful Lady Dotty. And so 50 years in nursing, how do you feel?
I feel great. I feel well accomplished. I feel that I have done something in my life, and I am so happy that I could really look at the days gone by and today And all I can say, God is great.
Yes, he is. He surely is. And so, during this pandemic, you didn't even stop nursing. You're retired and you still went on. What made you come out of retirement?
What made me come out of retirement is the love for people, the love for to take care of people. When
Hmm.
I went into nursing, I always said, I don't want to be a matron. I don't want to be a sister, because matron and sister takes care of healthy people. I want
Right.
to be a nurse. I want to be at the bedside. And I stayed there until today.
It takes a really special individual to be a nurse because it's so many facets to nursing. And we're going to go into that. But I'm wondering, because, in the pandemic, when it's a scary time and you're retired, what did you learn about yourself that you hadn't learned before during this pandemic, this
What
COVID-19?
what I learned about myself is that regardless of what is happening, you can be resilient. You
Mm,
can really believe that you could continue to do what you're doing and do it without fear. Because I think fear is what a lot of even nurses
mhm.
encountered. And because of that, they just don't want to go out there. But I learned that I was called to do this.
Mhm.
And this pandemic has truly showed me that nursing, I was called to do it. And this is why I continue to do it.
You mentioned the word fear. What would you say to nurses? Anyone who's a nurse listening right now or has a friend who's a nurse and the fear is gripping them by what they've seen and what they've experienced in this pandemic, what would you say to them to help them overcome some of that fear?
When you encounter those fears, just don't take it home.
Mhm.
Just don't
Mm.
take it home with you. If you take it home with you, it stays with you, because there are so many things you can see in nursing. And if you take on all those fears and what you see, it stays with you.
But you say,
And
don't take it home with you. How do you practically not take it home with you? Because the mind is such a powerful thing. How do you not take it home with you? And I know you got mental health in your background too, so I know you can answer this like whippersnapper.
well, you have to exercise all the the your inner man, your
Mhm.
heart. You have to love what you do, care for those who you want to care for. But then at the end of the day, all you got to do is just say pray, and you leave it and let the Lord take care of it, because you have done your best.
Right.
And because you have done your best, you don't have to take it home with you. You don't have to be afraid that you didn't do enough.
I like that. You do your best, anchor yourself in that, and God willing, you have faith. You anchor
Yeah.
yourself in your faith. I love that.
Yes.
We have some flowers coming to you right now. My next mom, love you to the moon and back. You're so special in so many ways, from Ethan Flowers. Oh, loving that, Ethan. So let's go back a little bit. Let's tell the story a little bit. What were the early years of Miss Dotty, little Dotty, growing up in, beautiful Jamaica?
The early years of growing up in Jamaica was great. I grew up with seven sisters and brothers, and we grew up on a large property, 5.5 acres of land. We have all the fruits that you can think of, and all the food we could think of. My father reared cows and goats. We have milk to drink. But what we didn't have is transportation. And so to go to school, I walked 3.75 miles to school, and going to school and 3.75 miles coming back. And yet, in all of that, we were able to get a good education, pass exams, and today I can say I'm very proud of those days, because those days laid a great foundation for us to be resilient, to have um, some kind of goal,
Yeah.
to make sure that whatever you do it well in
Yes.
those days. Because in those days you couldn't take your clothes off the line and just wear it to school. You have to starch your uniform and iron it, and your blouse have to be washed every evening, because we
Right.
wear white blouse and blue uniform, and our pleats have to be straight and stiff, because when we go to school, teacher is going to examine us. He's going to look at our nails. They're going to look if our hair is well combed, and our uniform. So those are the days, the foundation days, that is with me today still.
That's interesting. I never really thought about that part of it because it really brings that resilience and that discipline. Going to school in the Caribbean, and that discipline that we had to have, and that you had to do this and you had to do that. Your clothes had to be ironed and it had to be washed, and all these great things really laid a foundation. How is the way that you were raised helping you today and helped you throughout the last 50 years as a nurse and as a woman and as a mom and as a pastor? Oh my God. So many
The
hats.
way that I was raised helped me, because my parents taught me love,
Mm,
to love people. My father was a giver, and he would be coming home from the field, and he have 2 hampers of yam and banana, and he would send this little hand of banana for Miss Jane, and this yam for Mr. Brown. And when he killed the cow and the goat, he will bag out meat and he will send to them. And that is a foundation for me today, just to love people and give to people.
And you know what? You always give it. That's one thing I know. For those of you who are joining us live and on the replay, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am having this really inspiring conversation already with, I call her Lady Dotty. I call her Pastor Dotty. Some call her Mama Dotty. And celebrating 50 years in nursing. And, you know, there is an individual who wrote something to you. And I'm just going to read you a little snippet of what they wrote before I ask you the next question. And she says, a song of service, then my living shall not be in vain. No, my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along the way, then my living shall not be in vain, by Mahalia Jackson. Life has an unusual yet exceptional way of leading a person through undaunted, less traveled pathways of intrigue and discovery towards people of extraordinary worth and character. This day, I gladly proclaim my personal testimony of Dotty Iona Nicholas. And that is just the beginning of Karen Berry's words of tribute to you. And I just had to read that part because when, as we prepare for your tribute on Saturday, and for those of you who don't know, we are going to honor Lady Dottie on Saturday at 4 p.m. You're invited. You're invited. Invite a few friends. Um, and so we're getting in those remarks and that love coming in. And so, Karen, loves you as a mother and someone who's cared for her. And it made me wonder when I've seen your care for her and I've seen your care for others and in the community, what actually drew you into nursing?
What drew me into nursing is, when we were growing up, we have lots of neighbors, and there's always someone who needed help. And if our parents sent us, we can't say, no, we're not going. We have to go. And there were so many neighbors that always looked to my parents for help. And I think that is what drew me into nursing. I think that when I looked at all of these families, I call them families, they were our
Yes.
neighbors, but back in Jamaica, everybody's family.
Yes.
And in our own small way, we could do so much.
Hmm.
I believe that if I become a nurse, then I could do more.
I love that about you. And, so now you have this big dream. helping people, going another step, and you're in Jamaica. What was it like going to nursing school in Jamaica? Because you're going into nursing school back in the 70s. I'm going to admit, I was when it was 1971, I was only two. So I'm thinking I was 2 years old when I'm aging myself. I don't care because this is so great. When I was 2 years old, you were going into nursing, planning a career. Like, what was it like growing up, going to school in Jamaica, becoming a nurse?
Well, going to nursing school in Jamaica, it wasn't fun.
Mm,
It was it was not fun because it's not like today. You have some sisters on the wards
mm-hmm,
after 3 months. 3 months is PTS. And after 3 months, you are thrust on the wards with sisters
mm-hmm,
and senior RNs. And you have to, where you start as a nurse? You have to learn to clean the lockers. You get assigned to the sluice room.
mm.
You
Interesting.
you get assigned to watch the bedpans, and you get assigned to clean the draw sheet, the rubber mat
Mm-hmm,
that they put the draw sheet on. And when you leave that stage, you move on to feeding patients, and you move on until you get to the place where the nurse can watch, your senior nurse watches you give a medication and make sure you give it right. And when you're giving the medication, you can't just give the medication. You have to know what medication you're giving, why you're giving it, and you have to tell that sister about the condition of the patient. So, you know what I always do? I always go to a patient that has high blood pressure. And I, and I and I love it because when she comes, she's going to ask me why I'm giving the medication. The first thing she's going to ask me is what is blood pressure.
mm-hmm,
And I learned it. I said blood pressure is the force that is exerted by the blood on the walls of the vessels in which they are contained. And
mm.
50 years, I don't forget
Forget
that.
that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I can only imagine, you couldn't even falter. You didn't have the computers we have now. You didn't have the cell phones, you didn't have Google, you couldn't even cheat. Even if you wanted to see what a pill looked like, you had to know your stuff
You have to
as,
know.
learning to be a nurse. And then you're doing that, and then you're transitioning into from being an operating room to being an RN. What's this? You're shifting. You're growing as a nurse. What was that growth like? What's this growth process in nursing?
The growth
Especially for
was
those of us who don't understand this whole tier system of nursing.
Yes, the growth was good. So my first training was called an enrolled assistant nurse, and that there were lots of nurses coming from England, and they were
Mm,
super nurses. Although they were called enrolled assistant nurse, they were like top class RNs,
right. Oopsie.
very brilliant nurses,
Right.
and really knows the work.
Right.
And so they decided to open a new school at the Princess Margaret Hospital in St. Thomas in Jamaica, and we were the first set of students. It was 22 of us. Most of the students with me were practical nurses from different parts of Jamaica. So I was, maybe only two of us was in that group who weren't in hospitals before. And we got trained, and
Hmm.
it was great. But after I got trained, I went to another hospital, Isaac Brent Hospital, to work, and I got to work with a great doctor, Dr. A.H. Cottrell. And he really loved me, cared for me. He said, "You go and do your RN, go and do your RN." So both of us get together and fill out the application, and he gave me the recommendation. So when I got to go into do RN, only Dr. Cottrell and I knew.
That is,
Yeah.
and the fact that you remember him, I couldn't really tell what kind of person he was,
Oh
and
yes,
the
he
fact
was
that
a
you
great. He was
remember
a
him, Doctor A. H.
yes,
Cottrell.
yes.
You know,
he was a great doctor. He was a great doctor.
if he is he still alive?
No, no,
So if
no.
he was here with you today, what would you want to tell him?
I would have tell him that thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for seeing something in me that maybe I didn't even see.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for giving me, helping me to get an opportunity to continue excel in nursing.
I pray that those who are listening, as they hear that thank you, even understand the power of supporting another person and the power of mentorship, the power of pouring in to another and seeing the gifting in someone and saying, okay, you know what, I see something in this young person,
Yes.
and they need to overcome, or they need to go through. And I love that he did this and helped you do this, because sometimes we have to beg for mentors these days. We're
Mhm.
not getting the mentors that we need right now. What were some of the greatest challenges you had to go through when you were there in Jamaica and becoming a nurse?
Some of the greatest challenges that I went through was we didn't have the facilities to live on campus. So we have to live off campus. And living off campus can be a little bit difficult if you get off shift at nights, like 10 o'clock at nights to get home. It's in the country when I was in the country. And it's you have to make sure you have transportation to travel. But on a whole, I enjoyed my nursing in Jamaica. It was it was a great time. The patients love you, and they carry all kinds of gifts to give you, from a chicken to eggs to banana to yam and all that. And they and Jamaica, in Jamaica, you have a lot of respect once you're wearing that white uniform.
Right.
There's a lot of respect giving to you. So when we encounter challenges like transportation, somebody just coming by with the car and say, "Nurse, where are you going?"
And they give you a ride.
And they take me where I'm going. You're safe. No problems.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So there was not a lot of great challenges which we have, because Jamaica is completely different from North America.
yeah. You know what? And the Caribbean sure is. You walk down the street and you say, good morning, Miss Dotty. And I remember growing up in Trinidad. This is something I always remember as a young girl growing up in Trinidad. You walk out the street, and if they don't tell you good morning, something, you better go check yourself, because you're not looking good today. Your face, as I say, your face rumpled up or something. You're not looking good, or the clothes not ironed well. Go home and check yourself if you don't even get a little good morning, a little hi, or somebody doesn't greet you with a little love, with a little extra love and care.
Yes.
So you're migrated to Canada in 1989. And so that must have been quite a transition, because Caribbean life, Jamaica life is totally different than coming to the great white north, the cold. What was that like for you? What even made you decide to even come to Canada?
I came to Canada in 1980, and I loved it. I love how the place was clean and there were lots of flowers everywhere. It's not like now. I loved it, but I never experienced the cold. So I forget totally that Canada is not like Jamaica.
Right.
So, but anyway, I wanted to travel, and especially to give myself an opportunity
Mhm,
to know other places. I've been to the United States. I worked in the United States for like 6 months.
mhm.
I saw the different cultures and settings, but I think I would love Canada. So that's when I decided that I'll come to Canada, and out of sheer uh, miracle or blessings. One day I was going to the arena, And I met one of my batchmates. His name was Recton Creary, because there were lots of male nurses in my group. Lots of male nurses, about 22 male nurses. And
Yes.
he said to me, Dotty, they're taking nurses for Canada. And I said, that's so? And I went up there, fill out the form, sponsored myself, came to Canada.
Wow. You sponsored yourself.
Oh, yes. Nobody sponsored me.
Wow. I love that. I'm learning so much about you tonight. So much about you tonight. I'm pleased as I'm pleased as pie here. And I'm trying to stay focused because I'm so excited by your presence. And so you sponsored yourself and then you continued your nursing career here. Was that easy to transition into nursing, sponsoring yourself
Yes.
coming up here?
Yeah, it was easy. I came to Canada the 16th of September 1989. I got my job at the Centenary Hospital, Rouge Valley,
Right.
now Scarborough Health Network. I got my job on the 20th of November 1989. So September, October, November. By November 20th, I was working, and I got employed on the pediatric floor. Manager was Barb Mater, and I was employed as a RN pending, because you have to do your College of Nursing exam.
Mm-hmm.
And if I must tell you, the first time I took it, I failed, because I was not accustomed to objective type questions. I'm accustomed to essay type questions, like
Mm,
in the West Indies. The first time I took it, I failed. The second time I took it, I'm sure I passed. I failed. And I passed it the third time. But I still continue to work as a nurse.
right.
And I stayed at the Centenary Hospital, worked full time from 1989 to 2013 when I retired, and then they rehired me back. As a matter of fact, they want to rehire me back as part time, and I said no, no, no. I will only do casual part time and take care of the clinic,
You
and
know
I
what? I
did
can
that.
understand why.
So I'm still on their staff.
But I can understand why. Because one, you're an excellent nurse. And,
Yes.
with what nurses are, do you feel that, the nurses, when you started, we say back in the day, have a different resilience than nurses now? Or is it because of the times that has made nursing harder?
I think the time has made nursing harder. And I think that, I think working in North America and working like in the West Indies, it's two different levels.
Right.
Because in North America, you have everything,
Hmm.
at your fingertip to work with. In the West Indies, it's different. But I think that nurses, you have to be called to be a nurse.
Yes. Yes.
You have to be called to be a nurse. For me, I think nursing is my assignment.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if the Lord should call me home, I think now, which I'm not going anywhere now, I have
No.
about 20 more years.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
I I think I've accomplished and I've fulfilled my assignment.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so nursing is harder now, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are so many, research is better, and
Hmm.
they're making a lot of discoveries
Right.
and doing a lot of great work, and heart transplants and all kind of transplants, and all those are great work because of research.
You know,
But
you were in the you said, transplants and stuff, but you used to do work in the operating room before, right? Before.
oh yes, I worked in the operating room for a long time in at the Princess at the Azat Branch Hospital,
Hmm.
and from the Azat Branch Hospital at the St. Joseph Hospital. All my years there for the 8.5 years I worked in the operating room.
So you've been in the operating room, you're at the bedside, you've done the humble work of cleaning bedpans and all that great stuff. Definitely nursing. I think you have to be. It sounds like you have to be really humble to be a nurse.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and I'm going to give you a little shout out here from a beautiful person that you know, Lady and Elder Andrea Boea. Congratulations, Lady Dottie.
Love you, love you, love you.
You got your fans on here, and I'm telling you, anybody's on here and you want to send some love out to Lady Dottie, you're joining live. Now is your time. If you're on the replay, sharing is caring. So share, 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 because we have to celebrate our icons, our pioneers, our trailblazers while they're here with us. Don't give them their flowers later on. We need to give them their flowers now. So I'm giving you your flowers tonight, and I hope everybody else who's listening will give flowers along with me. So now you're at Centenary doing your due, and somehow I am really curious. This is one of the big questions I've always wanted to ask you. How in the world did you begin to take care of sickle cell patients? Like, how did this? I mean, it's so interesting because so many people didn't even know about sickle cell back then, and how did you even get into that zone of sickle cell?
I began to think about sickle cell because of a brother and a sister. And the brother, he was about 15 years old, and I was the new kid on the block when I came to Canada Centenary Hospital. And whenever he comes into hospital, the nurses always let me admit him and take care of him. And I could not understand why he was so aggressive when he's in pain, but when he's not in pain, he was such a nice boy, mannerly, respectful. I began to read books. I began to give a lot of interest to this disease because I've never nursed a patient in Jamaica with sickle cell disease. And then the program general manager saw that I have an interest in it, and she sent me down to the Toronto General Hospital to do some research, to look up books and all of that. And I continue to care for the sickle cell patients when they come in, and then I started to go to the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America's conference every year to learn more about sickle cell. So going to those conferences, I pay my own way.
Right. Wow.
Hotel, airfare. I want to know about sickle cell. And the conference is like for 5 days, 5 full days of conference with all kinds of research and high profile
And that
reports
could
and
not
all
have
of
been
this.
cheap. That had to cost you a little pretty penny.
Oh, yeah. And I began to learn about sickle cell. And then the golden opportunity came, and I got a fellowship from the
Wow.
Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. Then Mr. Simithaman was the Minister of Health and the Registered Nursing Association. And I was sent to do this fellowship at the Hospital for Sick Kids and to the Philadelphia Hospital in the United States. And after that, then the balls start rolling. They opened a satellite clinic, and I became the nurse clinician for the satellite clinic.
So this was the first satellite clinic they ever opened.
First satellite clinic ever opened in the entire Ontario.
Wow. I'm giving you your flowers. Because if you didn't invest the time, if you didn't invest the money in something that you saw that was a great need,
Yes,
we can safely say this could have taken a longer hot minute to happen.
yes,
I'm sure
yes,
many sickle
yes.
cell patients are grateful for it. Okay, go on with the story. This is exciting.
Yes. And so and I think in your question you said, what moment in nursing make you happy? You know which moment made me happy? When I helped to lobby the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care to add sickle cell to the newborn screening panel. And when we got it approved, we got some pushbacks, but I continue. I've never gone to the legislature to talk, and I learned to do that. And I went to the legislature and talked many times in meetings, and we lobbied and with other community agencies. and
Right.
we got newborn screening for sickle cell patients approved, because if they're diagnosed at birth, then you can have prophylactic penicillin and the care starts at birth. But formally, they would not be diagnosed until they die. Most
Right.
of them, most of them are something called panic sequestration. And parents run, my child tummy is big and I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And have internal bleeding and die and things like those. So we got that approved. And I must tell you quickly, when we lobbied the government, we figured that we would have about 25 patients a year. I think we're up to about 75, 80 patients diagnosed a year with sickle cell now.
This,
And that was 2006.
Lady Dottie, when I hear you speak about this and having friends and, and even just the little intro I did with Karen, having sickle cell herself, and so many people are with this disease, and not having it as a screening as a newborn until you had to lobby and lobby. And we know lobbying takes a long time and a lot of tenacity and a lot of strategy and a lot of
Yes,
relationship
yes,
building.
yes, yes.
I really congratulate you on that. And Wendy is saying here, Wendy's on her husband's computer. Blessings. I'm enjoying the conversation, Dotty Nicholas. You have given so much and we appreciate you, Wendy.
Thank you, Andy.
She's no, and Wendy is a teacher, and she deals with lots of young people, so she's always in contact with somebody who's
Yes,
had a sickle cell, and so now you've gone on and you're advocating, and you have the satellite hospital, and you're teaching, um, and you accept this position as president of the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario.
yes.
I mean, weren't you busy enough in the satellite office? What made you even take this position?
I guess I was young and had a loss of energy. Yes. I was asked, and I said, well, I give it a challenge. And I'm glad I took it, because that was the
Mhm.
time I was able to lobby with Lily Johnson.
Oh,
I must give a lot of, you know, praises to her.
yes.
I think she, you know,
She just had a birthday too. Last year
yes,
was it 90?
yeah, she's 99 now.
99. Yes,
She's
99. Yes.
99 now. Next year she'll be 100.
Oh my God, I hope she lives to 100.
I just went to see her about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, the next time you're going, can I go in the car, please?
Yes, yes, yes. She's 100. So I touch her to, to get some of the blessing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. She's a dynamic woman. She she was great, and she mentored me, and we went through that legislature, and with
Hmm.
George Simitham, and I have a picture with me really talking to him seriously, and we got it. So the years at the Sickle Cell Association was good. I only did one term because there were too much to take care of and working in the
Hmm.
hospital. I wanted to concentrate on the young kids in the hospital.
And
Yeah.
I can understand that. You know, if for those who really don't know what sickle cell is, because you and I, I've learned a lot through you and a lot of people that have been around me. If we can give them a brief snapshot of what is sickle cell and why is it so important for newborn screenings?
Well, sickle cell is a genetic disorder, and it is the most prevalent genetic disorder in the world. They call it a rare disease, but it's not a rare disease. And what is happens in sickle cell? Any The sickle cell is you have two abnormal hemoglobin. So your normal hemoglobin is as an A gene. So you have two abnormal gene, whether a S gene and a C gene, or a S gene and an H gene. Those are abnormal hemoglobin. And when you have a normal hemoglobin or two A's, so if two individuals get married and both of them carry an A gene and an S gene, or an A gene, or even beta thalassemia gene, and both of them pass on those genes, the child will eventually have sickle cell disease. Every child that is born needs to be tested And so parents have to learn that is every pregnancy with someone who carries the sickle cell gene, every pregnancy, it's a 25% chance for every pregnancy that you would have a child with sickle cell
So,
disease. And those babies born with sickle cell disease, it's a very challenging time for
mhm.
parents. But now the care is better. Newborn
Yes.
screening allows them to have treatment early,
Yes.
and we don't have young babies dying from sickle cell anymore. But what everyone has to learn that, and to get tested is easy. You just go to your family doctor, ask them to do your hemoglobin electrophoresis,
Right.
so the DNA of the blood. And many folks discovered that they carry an abnormal gene, because any gene that is not an A gene is an abnormal gene. So now you have sickle cell SS, which is,
Hmm.
you know, SC, sickle cell SC. So S is an abnormal gene and C is
Right.
an abnormal gene. You could have S and you have H. And now they discover there's a new type of sickle cell that is
What?
out there now, which is I think it's sickle C Antilles.
Wow.
So or AS. So you're a carrier, but you have this new variant out there, which is Antilles. I was listening to a lecture by Dr. Frempong. Dr. Frempong is a renowned doctor. He was living in the United States for a long time. I think he's now back in Africa. I'm not sure.
Right.
But he's one of the great men at the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America. And he was giving a webinar. And I was listening to him about 3 weeks ago. And this is a new variant they are just discovering in sickle cell disease.
That's a little,
So any
that's a
gene
little
that is
scary.
not an A gene is an abnormal gene.
That's a little scary. And I encourage anybody, please go learn about it. Last month was Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Lots of information was there. We've had other shows on sickle cell here, and Pastor Dotty has been a pioneer. You see, I call her Pastor Dotty, I call her Lady Dotty, I call her Mommy Dotty, and I'm
That's
going to give you
okay.
some more flowers here from Flora. Hello, Mama Dotty. I'm enjoying your speech and your testimonies. um, Wendy is. I had several students with this disease, and it's not easy because it's an education system that needs to be done in the schools. Understanding when a child or a young person goes into crisis, and recently I had an associate of mine said I posted one of the shows we did on sickle cell, and he said somebody sent it to him. And this is why these conversations are so important, and sharing is caring. And they said, look at the show Nicole did on sickle cell. And unbeknownst to me, his child, his newborn baby, had gotten diagnosed with sickle cell. And what a scary journey it is for a young parent, especially when they're young, to have a baby diagnosed with sickle cell. If you could give a piece of advice, for a young parent having that news, what would you do? What would you tell them right now?
I would tell them, don't be scared.
Mm-hmm.
The treatment we have improved treatment. You have comprehensive care now
Right.
for sickle cell. And all the parents have to do is to make sure that they continue the care of the child under someone who knows about sickle cell
Right.
and can give the best care to that child. Because sickle cell patients can live healthy lives if you do the things that you're required to do as a parent.
And you know what?
And
Don't be afraid. If you don't have a doctor that knows about sickle cell, a doctor that knows about sickle cell. Find a clinic that knows about sickle cell. Don't think every doctor knows everything. I think sometimes we as parents, as people in society, we think that, because you have the doctor sign before you, they know everything, and we don't fight for our kids and ourselves. That's just me. It's my pet peeve. As caregivers, we have to advocate for your loved ones if they have an illness. Okay, back to giving you flowers. Flowers giving you flowers because we're celebrating your 50 years in nursing. Um, Zayla Palmer, Nurse Dotty, you still have a lot of energy. You are a godsend. You are the Caribbean pioneer of nursing. Marcia, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Liberty is good evening. I have a friend with sickle cell and he's a gift to this world. Sometimes we forget he's living with it. Exactly. Because they've learned to live with their pain. And we have to look out for them. And I say to you, and Pastor Dottie, tell me if I'm wrong here. Um, we're going from these changing temperatures for people, and that could be a time when people can go into crisis very easily. That change in temperatures, children, the temperatures changing. If How can those of us who don't have sickle cell or a loved one with sickle cell, how do we support families who have sickle cell, or even adults, especially adults with sickle
You
cell?
you have to first thing encourage them
Hmm.
to seek comprehensive care because it's available to them.
Right.
And if you have someone who is a friend and the person is going out not dressed properly in winter because extreme cold and extreme heat, dehydration, those are the things that causes a crisis. So if the person is not dressed properly, it's your friend. You said no, you need to, I think you need a heavier jacket. I think you need to wear your cap. I need to you wear your gloves because
Mhm.
when they come back, they're going to. So if you love someone, you just have to tell them the truth that is good for them.
Yes.
And said, I think you should dress a little warmer and protect yourself because it's your health. For those kids in the summertime, you remind them to drink.
Mm.
You remind them that in the summer, if the water in the pool is not really warm, they can't jump in the pool like a normal child.
Yes.
They can't jump in the pool like a normal child. The pool, because it takes a lot of sunshine to make a pool warm in Canada.
Yes. And there is a fabric. You see the fabric, and I say to you, anybody out there, the fabric that you see divers wearing is it's neoprene. Um, that fabric, if you get a swimsuit for a child or yourself, if you have sickle cell or you don't like the cold, that's the fabric that you want because it traps the heat in. You have to remember temperature matters. So that was one of the many tips that you're going to get tonight. I'm going to give you some more flowers right now, Lady Dottie. Sarah Oyango, all the way from Ottawa. Sarah, you got to bring Lady Dottie on your show. 50 years of nursing. Many, many thanks for your many years of care and service. Bravo. Yes, yes, yes. And Liberty says, thank you. That's good. That was good advice. And so, Lady Dottie, like you're not busy enough. You decide to retire. You love nursing. We know it's your assignment. We know it's your calling. And then you decide, okay, I'm just not going to retire. I'm going to do something. In 2013, you started a scholarship.
Yes.
Okay, what's that about?
Well, this scholarship is only for those affected with sickle cell, young adults going into college or
I
university.
love
That's
that.
the criteria.
I love that.
And they must be accepted to go to a college or university. And it's just, I do know that they get very sick when they have to do odd jobs, come in late at night, have to study, go to school in the morning. So if they're giving us scholarships, it's not so much pressure on them to work. So to date, we have given 27 scholarships. 27 scholarships. 2013 to now, we have given 27 scholarships.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm just a joy because, you know, I know Lady Dottie from going to church, and she's praying for you and everything, and didn't know all this great stuff about knowing that she had a nursing background, but she was just this busy guru behind the scenes, changing and affecting lives, and now this scholarship. And I was so honored that you asked me to host that your scholarship event, your last scholarship event, and it was to see the young people and what they've achieved.
Yeah.
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. So if somebody wants to apply and they know they have sickle cell or they have a loved one with sickle cell, how do they go about? uh,
Well, an application is on the website.
Okay.
And all they have to do is to fill the application in and submit it. There are some criteria. You have to be a Canadian citizen.
Hmm.
Grade point average, we don't go more than about 70, because they do get a lot of admissions to hospital, and they have to sometimes catch up in school,
Right.
and so they have to give us proof of being accepted in a college or university,
Right.
and they have to make sure that they sign a consent if we want to put their pictures on the website,
Right.
to say yes, give us permission for that. But there's hardly any student that applied and we turned them down. Last year in the pandemic and this year, we gave a total of 8 scholarships and a
Congratulations.
total of $16,000.
And we need more. We need more because I am sure you have more applications than you have scholarships.
Oh yes, 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 and we wanted to do more in the amount that we give. So next year we are hoping
Hmm.
that all who are listening to me will contribute so that we can give more. And what we try to do is to follow at least one student
Hmm.
throughout his or her university year. So they give us reports and of the accomplishments, and many of the students are honest students.
And
Like,
you speak with your students like they're your children.
yes.
And I know they're like your children.
Oh
And
yes.
could you share just a snippet of one of the children that I just think of, you had the one singing on the oh my god, I'm just thinking of the stories that you told. I should have gone back and watched the event. But is there one student that stands out to you and their story and their story of resilience and what they've done?
Yes, there are many students that stand out to me in the story of resilience, but there is one boy,
Hmm.
and if I can take some time to talk about him. And I was in Florida, and I got a call from the mom that he was in hospital, and they're telling her that he was going to die.
Hmm.
And I got on the phone and I called a doctor down at the Toronto General Hospital, and I said, I want you to get this child for me. I'm not in the country. And he tried the first day, they didn't get him out. They tried the second day, they didn't get him out. By the third day, when they do get a bed downtown for him, he told me if he had stayed another 8 hours, we would lose him.
Wow.
And he spent about 2 months in hospital. And then when he came out, he had to go into rehab.
Hmm.
But today he's working in a lawyer's office.
Wow.
Just that one call, you have to care.
Yes,
You
you do.
have to, if you're a nurse and you don't care, pack it up and go
Go
home.
home. Yes. Yes.
You have
Yes.
to care.
Yes.
You have to care. And as a Christian, that is what the Bible tells me, to care for people, clothe the naked, give food to the hungry. That's a Christian life. You
Mhm.
have to care.
You have to care. I love that. You have to care. Sarah says, outstanding. What a legacy of generosity. Yes, she's a generous woman. I'm telling you, for those of you now joining us live and on the replay, I am celebrating, along with family and friends, 50 years, a pioneer in nursing with Dotty Nicholas. And she has been a pioneer in this country, in Jamaica, and fighting for the rights of many, I would say thousands with sickle cell, because I know you're touching lives of some people that you haven't even met yet, in your life. And you wear many hats, Lady Dottie. So, let me just get a little bit into a little more of Lady Dottie. What does victory look like to you? You're on the Victory Speak, so I'm curious. If you hear the word victory, what does victory look like to you?
I
I'm
think
leaning in. I'm leaning in for this one because I feel like I need to have a little piece of. I'm getting my wait. Hold on. I'm getting my little pen and paper because I know I'm gonna have to write this one down.
victory looks like when you are called to do something and you have accomplished that which you have called to do, and you can look back
Mm.
and you can say, yes, yes. Victory is when in your heart you feel and you know and you understand and it registered that you have done your best, and only the best is good enough.
Oh, love it. So, what would be a special victory moment in your life then? If you had to coin one or two moments in your life.
The special victory moment in my life, one of the special victory moment in my life is when we got the newborn screening for sickle cell approved.
Yes,
Yes.
I love.
When we got the newborn screening for sickle cell
What did that feel
approved,
like? What did that feel like? What was that moment? Could you
it,
could you
it,
remember
it,
the moment?
it felt good. I actually, when the announcement came, they called me to come to Ottawa, and it was announced. We were in Ottawa for the announcement, and it felt so good. For many years, they
Yeah,
were trying to get that done, and we all got together,
I can
and
imagine.
and 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 it was done.
I would have liked to been a fly on the wall watching you and watching Miss Johnson and just watching the team who've been fighting for years doing this, and those who've been crying and in pain, and going to the hospitals and being told that they were drug addicts because they needed the
Mhm,
medication to treat their
mhm.
pain.
Yeah.
And so, outside of nursing, what fills you up? What brings you joy?
What fills me up, what brings me joy is knowing the word of God
Mm,
and praying to have that peace in my heart and my mind, and to apply that what I know from the scriptures and give it to another human being, give it to another person.
mhm.
I love the quote of A.D. Bernard. And A.D. Bernard says that institution doesn't build a community, it is relationship and leadership that builds a community. And so when you give yourself and you have nothing left to give, you're satisfied because you have given what you have, and you have given yourself. You have given your time. You have given your purse. You have given your encouragement.
Yes,
You have given your mentorship.
yes,
You have given your counsel. And that's great. And a second time, what brings me joy, and that letter will be read Saturday evening. It's when I was called to nurse a lady in Jamaica. When I was in
well,
Jamaica,
I was gonna, I was gonna tell them about. I was gonna tell them about that letter. I'm gonna tell them about that letter but no, you know what? I'm gonna let you tell the story because I read that letter from the lady you were called to nurse who had the massive brain aneurysm. Are we thinking about the same lady?
yes, go ahead and read the letter. Go ahead and read
And
it.
I'm gonna summarize it. And in 1991, the young lady that wrote the letter is writing about her grandmother, Daphne, and at 49 years old suffered a massive brain aneurysm, which caused her to lose all her abilities as a normally functioning person. And as she lay in a coma in St. Joseph Hospital in Kingston, Jamaica, her prognosis was grim, and doctors believed that it was only a matter of time before she passed. My grandfather, mother, and two uncles only wanted the best care for her, she's telling us. And when Dotty entered our lives, it changed their lives forever. And they talk about day by day, Dotty, Lady Dotty, you were at her side. And in June that year, a miracle happened, and Daphne woke up. But they discovered that she had lost most of her abilities, including walking and talking. And somewhat amazed that she had survived, the doctors sent her to Miami Heart Hospital Institute for further treatment, and family insisted that you go along with her,
Mhm.
which is phenomenal. And there were many ups and downs along the journey. And when she was well enough to return home to Jamaica in 1981, you were still by her side, Lady Dottie, and worked with her day in and day out, teaching her how to walk and talk and eat again. And Tara, who wrote this letter, speaks of how you and your daughter Renee became part of their family. And they said, unfortunately for us, Dottie had big dreams, and little Jamaica couldn't keep you with them. And when you migrated to 1989, and she says it goes without saying, you succeeded. Your long list of accomplishments, and we're going to give you some flowers here tonight, Lady Dottie, are a testimony to that. That her grandmother went on to live for another 35 years, and she died peacefully at the age of 84 at home with her grandfather by her side, her husband, her love of her life. And she saw her children get married and enjoyed 5 grandchildren, and later followed to call her mama. Over the years, she says, her family have never forgotten you, Lady Dottie, and all that you've done. And you were always their angel. And they send you congratulations on your 50th anniversary of your nursing achievements. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. I'm telling you, they're getting the flowers here all over. Ronald says thank you. And Ronald Felix, actually, I'm not sure if you've met him yet. If not, I'm going to introduce you. He and his wife have 3 boys. 2 of their boys have sickle cell.
Wow.
And one of their sons, was it a year or two ago, Ronald? You can remind me in the chat. He became one of the young spokesperson for sickle cell in Ottawa, in
Good.
Gatineau.
Good.
And his wife wrote a book about making superheroes out of their sons and the
Mm-hmm.
battle to fight
Mm-hmm.
sickle cell.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to make that introduction.
Okay.
You need to meet this awesome family. And when I lived in Ottawa, they made sure that I was housed when I lived in Ottawa. So
Okay.
Ronald and his wife are near and dear to my heart. And so, what does family mean to you through all of this? You're working, you're doing all of this. How is family handling all that you do, Miss Dottie?
Family means relationship.
Mm,
Family means the family comes first.
mm.
But without a great relationship with your families, and in all families, there's a little tiff. But family means forgiveness. Family means loving always. Family means you forgive and you try to also try to forget. That's what family means. Family is the foundation of your life, and its family is ordained by God. And as a Christian, I love to say family is the greatest. Family is the greatest. And so today, I want to say, even in the pandemic, cherish your families, forgive and move on, because we have today and we may not see tomorrow.
Oh, that was a word. That was a word. And I love your family. And I love the way you love your family. You inspire
Yes,
me.
yes,
And if you want to know, if you didn't know one of the secrets, this is one of the women in my life. That's my backbone. Okay, so who inspires you? So, because you're inspiring everybody, right? So who's inspiring you?
Me?
Yeah, who inspires
Who
you?
inspired me when I was young? There was this city councilor, her name was Doris Burke,
Okay.
and she was a dynamic woman,
Hmm.
and she was a woman who gives you a lot of opportunity too, and she inspired me. And the other person that inspired me when I was young was my public school principal. We call him headmaster those days.
Yes.
David
Yeah.
David St. Ebenezer Wright.
Mm.
And he was a teacher that he has a motto and carved in a piece of slab, a board. And in the morning, you always have to say that motto. And it was live for a purpose. A life that is squandered will at life's close bring deep sorrow and pain. Live for a purpose that when life is ended, you may not feel you have lived it in vain. And we have to say that every day when we're in school, every morning. After morning prayers, we have to say the motto, live for a
Live
purpose.
for a purpose. I love
Yes.
that. Yes, Sarah, she is an incredible iron sharpener. Let me tell you, in this part of this journey, she's been sharpening me more than you know. Um, what is some of the best advice you've ever gotten?
What are some of the best advice I ever got? The best advice I ever got, I got it from my parents.
Hmm.
Get an education.
Mm.
That's one of the good best advice we get. And we were in the country. It was like I said, 3 3/4 miles to walk to school. But get yourself a good education. And the other advice that we got was be respectful
Mhm.
and love other people. Be
That respect and love
respectful
is missing so much today.
and
So
love
missing.
other people. Be respectful and love other people.
So I know you talked about the joy of sickle cell and getting the screening and all that great stuff. And looking back over life, we won't age you. We know you're 50 years in nursing. Big birthday coming up. Big birthday. Um, just saying. I was 2 when she started nursing school. 50 years in nursing. Do the math, people. Do the math. What would you say to your 25-year-old self?
What I would say to my 25-year-old self, I would say that I think that I have done what I was called to do,
Mm,
and I did it well.
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And and so as you're doing this journey and you're thinking about life and we're reflecting, what were some of the key lessons you learned along the way that have kept you and stabilized you to become the woman that you are now?
Some of the key lessons that I learned along the way is that you should not give up. I told you when
Mm,
I did the RN exam in Canada, I failed it twice.
right.
So we used to say this little thing, this little motto at school too. Our teacher, David St. Ebenezer, right? If at first you don't succeed,
Succeed.
try
Try,
and try
try
and try
again.
again.
Yes. Yes.
So that is it. If at first you don't succeed, try and try and try again.
Don't give up.
So don't give up. So you have to have resilience and tenacity to carry on
Mm.
because there's always opportunity there to succeed if you don't give up.
There's always an opportunity to succeed if you don't. I hope you people are writing this thing down. I'm not seeing the chat. That one should be in the chat by now, people. Victory listeners, where are you? I need those victory quotes going in the chat. She's dropping the nuggets, people. What do you want your legacy to be known for?
My legacy to be known for that I love people. I care about people
Love is a resounding team with you, Lady Dottie. Love.
because we used to sing this song that says, "May the life that you live speaks for you.
Mm,
May the life that you live speaks for you." And so I want to know that they can say, at least she don't have millions of dollars, but she loved people and she care.
ah,
She care.
she doesn't have millions of dollars, but she
Yeah,
cared.
you
Yes.
cared.
Well, you can still get the million, but we know you can't. The million could still be there because we need to raise some money for this Dotty Nichols scholarship, and we need some more scholarships, full scholarships to go to these young people that are going to school.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything? Well, I'm sure there is, because many people know, they know you going to, they know you at church, they know you as a praying woman, they know you with the Sickle Cell Foundation, they know you advocating for sickle cell nursing, you know. But is there, what is the thing that we don't know? Layman
What you
people.
don't know, you don't know that I'm also a writer.
Ooh.
I love to write poems, and that's one of my ambition, to publish a book of poems for you. So if you would allow me, I could say one for you.
You can do anything you want to do. I am just the captain
And
of the
I
ship.
wrote quite a few of them, but this one I love it because I got up one morning when I was in Florida and I have a big bay window that turns to the east, and I watched the sun came up,
Mhm.
and I just grabbed my pen and I began to write. And I say, the day is no, this was an evening when the sun was going down. I have one when the sun was coming up in the morning. And this one, the day is ended. The brilliant evening sun peers through the trees like a ball of fire. Its rays sparkles on the leaves. The shadows of evening creep slowly o'er the sky. Birds and beasts slowly preparing to rest, so they cry. Another day's ended. The darkness falls, and we must rest. The stillness of the evening seems unreal. No one can imagine how calm the atmosphere feels. The ocean breathes in silence, its waves are still. The call is heard from the creatures near. Come to sleep, the day's over. The darkness falls, and we must rest. The creatures of the night make strange sounds. The days ended, the ocean waves cease dashing. Boats glide slowly across the bay, reaching for their docks where they anchored and stay. The night is fallen. All creatures come home from play. The darkness falls, and we must rest. I looked at the brilliant sun sinking fast. Beyond the dark clouds, it disappears at last. The shadows of the night obscure the brilliant blue sky. The long day is over. Birds and beasts are now sleeping. Another day's ended. Creation is rejoicing. The darkness falls, and we must rest.
Woo! Woo! I'm giving you your flowers. Yes. Okay. Is my publisher on the line? We need to get this book published. We need to get this book published. Okay. Okay. Oh, Wendy's like, my pores are. I'm telling you, I try to keep a straight face and not cry. That Lady Dotty needs to be published. It needs to be blown up. You're getting your flowers. If you're on YouTube, use the chat. I know many of you on YouTube use the chat. That was splendiferous. And now you must rest. Oh my God. I can't wait to read the rest of the poems. No, this has to be published. This has to be published. So I didn't know that part about you. So what's next? I'm afraid to ask. What's
What's next? So with that, I am doing my master's in theology. I know I only have two subjects before I do
Oh
my
my God.
thesis. So what next? I have to finish my two subjects, and what is holding me back is Greek too. I'm scared of Greek too, but I only have two subjects and then my thesis. And so I want to get my master's in theology because I love the scriptures.
We are going to be supporting you
Yes, I
as
love the
you are doing
scriptures.
this. She's loving her scriptures. People are loving you. I have one more question before we go. I don't even want to end this interview, but I have another question. I may have another one after. Who knows? And if somebody had a question that I haven't asked yet that you want me to ask her, now's your time to slip it in the chat. If you could go to dinner with one person, alive or dead, who would that be?
Michelle Obama.
Really? Why? Why would you want to go to dinner with Michelle?
She is such a dynamic woman. I want to learn something from her
Oh, I love that. I want to
because
learn.
excellence follows excellence.
Woo! Woo! Excellence follows excellence.
Yes. Michelle Obama, I would love to, just be in her presence, talk with her. She's another human being, but she's a great woman.
She really is, and
Yes.
her journey becoming is quite an interesting, it's quite an interesting story. And to be in that position, Barack
Yeah.
is one thing, but to be the woman at the side and
Yes.
put yourself in so many different positions so that your husband
Mhm.
can accomplish what he has to accomplish
Yes.
means says a lot. And you know what? Your journey of health, the two of you have to meet. Okay, the two of you, we're gonna have to, we're gonna put this into the prayer atmosphere. The two of you had to meet because her love of health and nutrition and
Yes.
you and sickle cell and okay, okay, whoever's listening to me and listening to us in the land of virtualisms, please help us make the connection to Lady Dotty Nichols. 50 years in nursing, a pioneer, and she needs to talk to Michelle Obama. Make it happen,
Obama.
somebody. Make it happen. Help us make it happen. Sarah Oyango, I need your help on this one. You know things, you know creative ways of connecting people. Is there anything else? Wait, before I say ask that question, I just want to say that when I'm seeing all these greetings that are coming in for you on Saturday. So on Saturday, people, I'm gonna drop it in the chat after. Lady Dottie, we're celebrating her 50 years. We're going to have this big Zoom party because we can't do it in person, even though we wanted to. And people have been writing from all over the world. I mean, including, I mean, we got a congratulatory message from the Consul General of Jamaica, and he speaks so highly of your accolades and what you've done for Jamaica and the work that you, Miss Nicholas, has done to combat sickle cell disease is laudable. I'm just reading a little piece from his letter. As founder and president of the Dotty Nicholas Sickle Cell Scholarship Fund Association in 2013, Miss Nicholas continued her fight against the disease in another manner. This scholarship fund is aimed at assisting young people with sickle cell disease to pursue their education in Canada. I reiterate my congratulations on behalf of the Consulate General of Jamaica to Miss Dotty Nichols for on this amazing achievement and wish you much success. And so listen, I know we have greetings from the mayor and some MPs. You just have all these people. You know the who's who in Canada, and now they're outside of Canada, sending you their accolades. And is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to mention before we come off live? Because we can always put stuff in the chat. But before we come off live, the stage is yours. What would you like to say?
I would like to say that whatever happens in your life, to everyone out there, whatever you do your best. Do your best, and only the best is good enough. And of course, as you know, I'm a person who loves the word of God and loves to pray. You make sure you pray always, because prayer changes things. Read the word of God. And when you do all of that, go without fear. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let fear keep you back. Just continue to stand by faith and do what you have to do. And I love this extract in my closing. And I normally used to say it at school too. It says, I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good work, therefore, I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow man, let me do it now. Let me not neglect or defer it, for I shall not pass this way again. And I would like to let everyone know under the sound of my voice that this is what I would like you to do. Whatever you can do, please do it now, for we shall not pass this way again.
Whatever you have to do, you should do it now because we shall not pass this way
This way
again.
again.
Lady Dottie, Pastor Dottie, Mommy Dottie, Nurse Dottie, you know, I am so pleased as I can ever be pleased to come back after hiatus to have you as the first guest back into the fall season of the Victory Speaks show. You have spoken victory into the lives of myself, and I'm sure anyone listening. I know just by the comments, people are happy, and I wish you and your family all the best. I am so grateful for you that I am in your hemisphere, that I was actually blessed to be in your hemisphere. Many congratulations to you. Ronald says congratulations as well.
Thank
And,
you.
I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward
Thank
to
you.
Saturday. For those of you who are live, it is November 1st. And on Saturday, we'll be celebrating her. So if you want the details, DM me. I'll put it in my on my Facebook, and I'll sure to tweet it out and put it on my Instagram. And you can uh, see her and celebrate her. If you want to send her some flowers, go right ahead. We are going to be cooking it up, some big love on it. Thank you so much, Pastor Dottie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And folks, I really am honored that you tuned in tonight. It has been a hot minute since Victory Speaks was on the air, but I so love and appreciate all of you who stayed and tuned in tonight. If you want to catch the show or missed any part of the show, be sure to go back to the YouTube page, subscribe to the channel Victory Speaks 7, and you can go to the Facebook page Victory Speaks 77, and follow me, as well as you can also go to Twitter and Instagram to keep up with what I'm doing. And it's just a new season in life. And Pastor Dottie talked about love. And for those of you who know me, I always say love is in the details. And remember this, just above the clouds, there are blue skies. It's all in the breakthrough. You just gotta take your time and soar higher and soar higher. Soar like the eagles, go high above. Every day, seek to have an inspired conversation with someone you love, someone you meet today, someone you've met along the way. Your conversations can be inspired by your truth, your love, your story. Make sure they are meaningful, and all it can even start with is with a smile. Your smile makes a difference. May you see the victory moments in your day, in your week, in the months and days ahead as we start on the ending of 2021 going into 2022. And I just really want to thank all of you. I am so grateful